A warm welcome from day 12 of the Alltech FEI World Equestrian Games. Our French hosts had plenty to cheer about yesterday in the Donano Stadium as Patrice Delaveau jumped his way into the lead at the halfway stage of the individual jumping competition. The team medals will be decided this afternoon, with less than one fence splitting the top three teams, the Netherlands, USA and Germany. It is set to be a nail-biting competition. The vaulting is well underway, and later on Chez we'll be hearing from the New Zealand squad what it takes to get a team to the Games. At Caen Racecourse today, the driving enters its first stage, the dressage, and I am pleased to be joined by Boyd Exell, defending world champion. To keep the Aussie theme, we're also joined by another Aussie, Edwina Tops-Alexander. Thank you both very much indeed for joining us. Edwina, just want to quickly ask you about yesterday. That was a great round. You just had one time penalty, but you must be very chuffed with that.
Yeah, he's jumping really good, Ego. He jumped the first day a great round as well. He was clear. It was a table C, and he's not a fast horse. He spends a lot of time in the air, and it would have been better if it was a table A for me. But so I did the best job I could, and you know, I finished up not the best result overall with the scoring because he was, you know, I was not that fast. But yesterday, jumping a clear just with that time penalty really pushed me up a lot. The time penalty definitely cost me a lot. You know, it's 7 places.
Wow.
But in saying that, he's jumping great. I can't complain. I know he's not a fast horse, and he really is a championship horse. So I've just got to keep jumping more clear rounds.
And you're 27th, I think, as an individual now. So you're in the top 50. So you've got the individual campaign to carry on for the next few days.
Today is the last day, and then they take top 30 back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Boyd, you've yet to compete here this weekend. I'm looking on the screen this morning. It all looks great down there. They've taken up the surface from the para dressage, and you've got a new surface laid for the driving. What is it like down there? You've been down there this morning.
Well, we technically have started because the vet check's a big thing for us.
Okay, sure.
The 5 horses, to get 5 horses through a vet check clean, and it's an important thing because I bring an old horse, Grackle. He's 23, and he's doing the cross country. So you've just got to make sure he's really on song. He's only done Royal Windsor, Aachen and here Normandy. So that's considered as the first phase for us. And then we had our draw yesterday, and I've got a Friday dressage. So 25 competitors today, 25 tomorrow.
With bringing 5 horses, can you choose which horses? You can swap them at your, that can be your decision. You haven't got to say, I'm going to start with those 4.
No, that's right. We can complement our team. Technically, it was a rule made that if you had a lame horse, you could substitute one in. I use it for more tactics, so I take this horse it's a Russian Orlov trotter. So I use him for speed, for the cross country and the cones phase. So I have 4 dressage horses, and then I substitute a 5th one in on the cross country day.
Great. Now, Edwina, very interesting having a chat with you earlier because, yes, you're competing this afternoon, and you happened to drop in conversation that your dressage rider was riding your horse today. Tell us about that.
Her name's Suzanne van Aken. She's Dutch. She's been working for us for 8 years, and she's working full-time, and she's normally at home all the time riding my horses and having them ready for me. You know, Ego's a strong horse. He's a big horse, and you know, he needs a lot of pulling around, and I am strong, but she's a lot stronger than me, and she gets him working a lot better, and she gets him a little bit lighter for me. And yesterday I had him in the morning, and it just made my life so much easier yesterday in the ring. The day before she didn't ride him in the morning, and he was just a little bit heavier, and and it's better for me, you know, so it keeps me fresh, and she has a slightly different way of working him, and so it absolutely makes a huge difference to me.
So Suzanne's purely doing flat work?
Yeah, only flat work, yes.
Great, okay, yeah. So she's, you know, when you get on him, you know, obviously he's very fit anyway and supple, but you can feel the aspects that she's working on for you when you start to approach fences and things.
Yeah, no, definitely, because, you know, being a strong horse and a big horse, and in that big ring, I've got to be able to counter, really counter, and I have to think a lot more about my time. Because he covers the ground slowly. He takes a lot of time in the air. You know, he spends much more time in the air than most horses, and so I've really got to counter. And because he's strong, sometimes I'm a little bit tentative to canter too much because I'm worried he's going to get a little bit too strong, you know. So so she did an amazing job. You know, I feel a big difference after she's been riding him, and it's just a great match. And she's always ridden. She rode Ito for me all those years, and yeah, she's done a really good job, and very happy. I said to Jan, I'm going to have to bring her with me everywhere now with this horse. Yeah, so definitely helps.
Boy, do you ride your horses? Do they get ridden?
Yeah, very similar to Edwina. My wife and my groom Michelle do all the training when I'm away, so I'm probably home 3 days a week. So the other 4 or 5 days a week that they're being ridden and schooled by somebody else. It's sort of a little bit like good cop, bad cop as well. You know, the horses have quite a bit of respect when I'm home, yet they're not being pressured every day. So it keeps them sweet.
In fact, a couple of years ago, we were having a chat and you were talking about going to go eventing or something, or did you give up on those ideas, or are you still riding?
No, I love the jumping. I'm lucky where I live in Leicestershire that there's an eventing course, so I just love going out and just free range jumping and 40 or 50 jumps and then come home every day. So that's a thrill, but almost I had too many people relying on me, too big an operation to close down, and too many sponsors involved, and too many customers that I teach, and I would have been at the sort of bottom of the barrel again for another 10 or 15 years working hard to get to the same point, so probably it was too late.
You happened to mention the word Leicestershire in that your last sentence there. But you are about to move, aren't you? And there's a bit of a small world going on here, because aren't you just about to move opposite Edwina's stables?
Yeah, I've taken some of Edwina's advice, because there's a great yard across the road from Edwina's stable yard where she trains her horses. So we're also setting up there's 45 stables and an indoor school and nice outdoor arena, and Edwina's just telling me about the great woods there that you can drive in. So yeah, we're moving before Christmas to Holland. For me, that'll be an hour down the road to Aachen, 2 hours to Riesenbeck, 3 hours to Big Bergen, instead of 18 hours, 24 hours.
Sure.
You know, so it'll save me about probably 30,000 a year. And
no water to cross to all those places.
And no hindrance of weather and conditions and ferry crossings. And travel expenses are getting much more, you know, the last few years. The prices have gone up so much, there's a big factor.
You actually went through the process a couple of years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, of getting a British passport. I remember you telling me you had to learn all about England and its history. You've actually got that now, have you?
Yeah, I've got my British citizenship and British passport, but my wife, Preetha, she's obviously English, and my children are raised and brought up in England, and we visit Australia for 6 weeks every January, February, so as long as possible.
Edwina, do you get back to Australia quite a lot?
I've probably, in the last 15 years, been back about 2 weeks in total, yeah. Right. No, so I go back once every 2 years or once a year.
Being at the top of each of your respective disciplines, in Australia, are you heroes? Do they talk about you in the press? Are you followed? Are your European and campaigns well reported in Aussie?
A little bit. I don't follow too much about it. I think definitely more and more over the last 5 years, probably because there's so much more media attention and social media and everything. Sure. So yeah, and I think a lot of people now in Australia, they're realising with the jumping that you really have to be based in Europe if you want to have success and be at the top of the sport. And yeah, so I guess they are. And
we're probably more known in Europe. I mean, they know of us, but of course, you're just 12 hours the wrong side of everything. So, you know, when you want to call home, you have to wait till the evening or the morning. And it's a little bit the same with what they're doing. So they're sort of staying a bit in their own world in Australia.
Yeah, totally, yeah.
And Edwina and I and one other dressage rider also have proven in Australia that you've got to be in Europe to stay at the top.
Yeah.
You've got to be practicing with the top all the time. So we're more famous here.
Are there, you know, are there any 5-star shows in Australia? I mean, there's obviously none at all.
No, there's not at all. No, I mean they've sort of, we've had a few queries in the last year or so about maybe doing a global tour there, but it's just, you know, logistic. It's basically the quarantine. I mean, for sure, it's a massive trip, and you know, the schedule is so heavy for us. You know, we have every weekend. I did last year 48 competitions. This year till now, I've had only 3 weekends of no shows. I've got, after the week until Christmas, every weekend a competition. It's very, very heavy. There's just an enormous amount of people riding in our show jumping, and high demand, and you know, I think it just wouldn't fit into the calendar, and obviously because of the quarantine, it's just too much time, you know, to leave your horses in that that time off. So I just don't think it would work. You know, it would be difficult.
Over the last 15 years, there has been a dramatic increase in the amount of top class competitions in jumping. Does that put you as a rider under pressure? Because do you feel you need to be at as many as possible?
No, I mean, I love to go and I love to compete and I love to be on the best shows, and the quality and the standard of the shows is just unbelievable now, and the level of prize money, everything's lifted, and of course with the global tour has really pushed a lot the sport to a different level. I definitely think that probably, I think where the problem is the fact of the ranking system. And that really puts a lot of pressure, and you know, you need a lot of horses to stay up there, and because everyone is trying to stay up there, that you have to get as many points as possible, so you go every week, because there's no other way to do it, you know. So you can pace yourself, you know, the best 30 scores count, but at the end of the day everyone's going every week to the best shows and trying to get their horses up there and get as many points as possible, so it's a bit of a catch-22, you know. So you don't have to, but if you want to be up there, you've got to.
Sure.
Yeah.
And Boyd, for you, driving also has increased in popularity, and you know, we were talking to Chester Webber. He spent a lot more time in Europe in the last 12 months or so. You know, is it, if you like, tougher to stay at the top now than it was?
I think, like Edwina, our calendar governs what we do. We have our summer calendar that finishes in the end of September. We're straight off into our World Cup indoor series in October, and I have 12 sort of horses for my outdoor team and another 9 for my indoor team, completely different type of horses. So the numbers of horses keep you working hard. The calendar then governs. I mean, when I say we go back to Australia for 4 or 6 weeks, we leave the day after Mechlin, and we come back as brave as I am and how good my horsepower is, 3 days before the final in Bordeaux. I just work back from that date and I just squeeze as much time in as I can. But it gets more difficult because we have lectures and demonstrations and talks and training and trying to buy new horses and produce new horses and all that sort of thing that rolls into it. It's a 7-day-a-week job, you know, all year round, really.
Mind you, if you're going to spend a month out of Europe, January is probably the month to do it, I think, to be in Australia.
And I'm so pleased that we heard for our driving the final's going to be in Göteborg this year in Sweden, so hopefully that'll be a later calendar date, so it won't be sort of beginning of February like Bordeaux. So for me, that's brilliant.
Edwina, just reflecting on the last couple of days here in the arena and the whole World Equestrian Games thing, the fences, for a start, I think look fantastic, and that arena seems great. Have you enjoyed yourself here? I know you go to these shows, as you say, every week of your life, and perhaps you probably sometimes even forget what country you're in. I'm sure you do.
What day it is today.
What day it is today. But actually, it's been pretty good here, has it?
Yeah, no, fantastic. It's a great atmosphere. For me, I've had a lot of support out there, which is nice, you know, because I don't obviously compete in Australia at all. So that's really nice. The ground is holding up really well, and yeah, the jumps are really beautifully made. They're different, and it's really nice because, you know, like I said, we go every week on the show, and it's very similar style of jumps that we have. So here, you know, yesterday the jumps were a lot different to the first day, and they're really impressive. And you know, some of the horses are jumping the jumps a lot different than they would normally jump them. And you know, the way he's built the courses and a lot of things around the jump, it's beautiful. I mean, they've done an amazing job. And the first day was a little on the small side. A lot of the riders were not too happy about that, you know, being a table C, but also was not so big. It shuffled everything around a little bit. But yesterday was a little stronger, and I hope today is going to be stronger again for my horse anyway.
Mind you, on the first day, although, as you say, some people said it could have been a little bit bigger, but it caused enough challenges, didn't it?
You see that often in championships. People are really nervous, and all of a sudden the jumps are totally different, like I said, to anywhere else in the world. Horses do jump them different. The first day, actually, when we had the warm-up, they had the water jump there, and they had a pole quite high over it. And I've never seen so many horses jump the water so bad in my life, and in the training round, And I mean, there was one after the other, stopping, crashing. It was really unbelievable. And my horse, he jumps the water fantastic, and I was going to train it, but after I saw everyone jumping it bad, I didn't jump it. So that also caused a little bit of problems for the first day of the table C. And yeah, but you see that often. You definitely see that often, and often also sometimes the lines are riding a little bit different because of the way the horses look at judge the fences. So yeah, I think today will be a lot better.
Boyd, have you been allowed to see the marathon course yet? I can't remember when they opened it to you.
We've done our first course walk yesterday.
Okay, and how's that? What's your assessment of that so far?
A little bit, because on the race course they've been governed how much they can have fixed objects in the ground. They've had to build a temporary sort of surface, so we've got a makeshift arena on every obstacle. So then the course builders had a little bit of a difficulty having anything fantastic structure-like built. So I would have said it's a friendly course. Not as spectacular as I've seen other World Championships, but with his sort of restrictions, I think he's done a good job. Richard Nichols is a course builder from America.
Yes. So have you made a decision as to what horses you will use on the course now you've walked it? Is that when you make your decision on that?
No, it influences which way we turn in some obstacles, because I know some horses turn a lot quicker than others, and some drift a little bit wide, and some are braver into water when the one horse leads more than the other one, so just factors like that. And
do you get alternative routes on those obstacles? You do?
Yeah, the basic principle is the fastest man wins, so you just have to take as brave a racing lines as you can without risking any mistakes. So my team's really good, they're experienced. They've actually, I didn't realise, because all year I've been shuffling my team throughout the season, but this team is doing their third championship. It's exactly the same team configuration as Kentucky and Riesenbeck World Championship and here, so you mentioned that Grackle, I think you said, was 23. What sort of age would you keep? That's quite old for a jumper.
Yeah, that doesn't exist anymore.
Exactly. So what age do they go on till? As long as the
case
stay fit,
I think this should probably be his final hurrah. So about that age, really. But I mean, when you get a good horse in any discipline, they can actually go for a long time. Because a good horse for show jumping is probably a good driving horse, it's probably a good dressage horse.
Yeah.
A good horse will do anything you ask and will do it to the best of his ability.
Yeah, it's all about management as well. Yeah.
Interesting name of a horse. Of course, there was a horse that won the English Grand National in the 1930s called Grackle.
What's it?
Did you know that?
No.
That's where the bit name came from. The name Grackle was made for that horse that won the Grand National, and that's how it became known as a Grackle.
Grackle Noseman.
Yeah,
very
exactly. The Noseman, yeah. Well, it's a next busy 3 days for you both. I hope you stay busy for the remainder of the tournament, Edwina. And the weather's now decided to get a bit better, because I can assure you.
So we can come out of the studio.
You missed, you missed a horrendous week last week.
Yeah.
That was not pleasant at all here. Well, thank you both very much indeed for joining us, and the best of luck to all of you, and the horses and the teams. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, yesterday, Sienna went down to the Games Village and had a look at the Alltech Experience. Let's go and see what she got up to.
Hi Phil, I'm in the village and I thought you might be interested to know a little bit more about the main title sponsor, Alltech. I have the lovely Elizabeth to show me around. Hi Elizabeth, I'm Sienna.
Hi Sienna, good to see you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for having us today.
We're glad to have you here in the Alltech Pavilion at the Alltech FEI World Equestrian Games.
Well, it's pretty impressive, I must say that. Where should we start?
I would like to start in the ocean at Algae.
Go to the ocean. Lizzie, why the fish? I mean, they're beautiful.
Well, this is the section on algae. So, you know, omega-3 is a really important part of the human diet, and you can get it through fish, but the challenge is, because of overfishing, there is not as much omega-3 in the diet as there used to be. So what we do here at Alltech is we feed that algae and that omega-3 to different species. We feed it to poultry, we feed it to beef cattle, we feed it to dairy cattle, so that those products are naturally enriched. And we provide that in a sustainable way. Instead of having to pull it from fish oil, we're able to put it into the diet naturally through algae. Let's go into our crop science section. We started here in the ocean with the fish, and let's go talk a little bit about the earth.
Let's go. Crikey, Lizzie, what is that?
It's a DNA. It's maybe the world's biggest DNA. And of course, the DNA double helix is something that we have in all of our bodies as humans and that all animals have as well. It's the basic building block of life. So the reason it's here in the Alltech Pavilion is because Alltech works on the science of nutrigenomics. And what that means is we look at how nutrition affects us on the genetic level. You know, in the equine world, we really have that precise feeding. So you have to look at what is the animal doing. You know, is it in exercise? Is it in recovery? Is it at rest? And feed in those different ways. I mean, these animals are under a lot of stress. They're performing, they're competing, they're moving from place to place, and we really need to treat them according to that. And the ones that you see here are just absolutely in beautiful condition, doing things that are amazing, and Alltech loves being a part of that. Thank you very much for coming to the Alltech Pavilion. We guys are so glad you guys are here, and I hope more people will come and see us.
Thank you, Lizzie. I really, really enjoyed it. Thank you so much. Lovely to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks.
There's so much to see in the Games Village, and it's not just about sport, and clearly Sienna's been having a good time. Well, we're all having a good time here in the studio on Chez, and thank you very much indeed, ladies, for joining us. Kat, you are team coach for the New Zealand team, the vaulting team, but before we go into detail about that, let's just talk about the Games Village, because you had a fabulous evening. You vaulters all got together. Tell us what happened last night.
Last night we had a national evening, and all the countries put together a little show to show something from their country or something the team had put together, and we did a haka.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it was great. It was a fun evening, and yeah, we had great fun doing it.
And did you all do that? Did you all get involved?
Pretty much.
Lyn, did you
Our
do
chef
that?
No, I didn't.
Lyn was, because you're team manager for...
Yes, but our chef de keep got involved,
Great.
and so did our federation, which was fantastic.
Great, absolutely brilliant. So Lyn, how's it been for you so far? You've got here, you've had a day of competition, and are you all settled in? And
Yes, no, we've had 2 competitions so far.
Sure.
We've hit our expectations. I'm very happy with the girls. They're a fantastic group of young people to be with. And we're very pleased that we're in the finals, and looking forward to it tomorrow night.
Lily, you're one of the 8 competitors in the New Zealand vaulting team.
Yeah.
To be the highest non-European team after 2 days, how does that make you feel?
Oh, it's just amazing. It's such a great experience just to show what New Zealand's got.
Yeah, it is fantastic. Let's hope the next couple of days brings more rewards.
Yeah.
Lyn, I want to talk a little bit about the last few months, because a lot of viewers will see the teams, not just vaulting, I'm talking about across all disciplines, and one could almost just assume it just happens, but you've had a battle to get here. I mean, you had to raise in excess of $80,000 to be here. How did you undertake that? When did that start?
Only in March, actually. We didn't know we were coming until March, and so we sat down as a club, because we are a club, and discussed how we could get these girls here. Everybody in our club said they'd help and participate, and our community, which is the Kapiti Coast, have gotten behind us and helped a lot, plus a member of our club who also lives in England has helped us as well.
So it was sort of public money, just members of the public just throwing money into a bucket or whatever it might have been. You know.
If only it was that easy, that would be that would be
you
great.
know what I mean.
Yeah, I do. We did several things. We did T-shirts, which we haven't got on today. They're Kapiti Coast, and we sold the sponsorship on those slots of bronze, silver, and gold dots on the shirts. And every week they went up into our local newspaper. So we did that for a 5-week run and sold all that space. We did British High afternoon teas, and ladies in our community bought the tickets to come to that. We did casino evenings, and that sold really well. We've got art collections that we're selling right as we speak, and we've got a big raffle in New Zealand that all the other disciplines have come together. They've given us 5 different dressage, show jumping, eventing, are going to, on the 4th of November, going to run a clinic for us in the Waikato. People will come, 6 winners will win that raffle. They get 2 horses, they can bring 2 horses and a groom, they get their accommodation, the horse gets the accommodation, and someone wins a horse out of those 6 people.
So it's really important, this, to fully understand that all what you've just described, without it, you would not be here with a team.
Not at all, not at all.
I mean, that's incredible.
It's been a fantastic experience, and to know who's in behind you and who will help.
Sure.
Like Dressage New Zealand helped us.
Yeah.
Some of the vaulters from Europe sent us donations to get us
fantastic.
here. I mean, it's just been amazing.
It must feel, it was quite emotional for you actually.
It is, actually.
To be here.
Yeah.
Okay, but let's just talk about in excess of $80,000, and the fundraising is still going on, because I know that the bills are still coming in.
Yes.
A lot of money, but of course it's not just about a week in Normandy, is it? When did your build up to the Alltech FEI World Equestrian Games? When did that start in terms of you all? When did you leave Australia, Lily, to come here?
New Zealand.
New Zealand, sorry, New Zealand.
So we left on 23rd of August.
23rd of August.
July.
July, yeah. And so we're all pretty jet lagged when we got to Germany. And then after that we went to an amazing camp and we had all this great experience with some of the top coaches and choreographers just to get our freestyle up to date.
And Kat, as team coach and also national coach in New Zealand, have you been on this trip from day one as well?
Of course, yep.
How many of you have been part of the
whole experience?
Yeah.
Seriously, I think Lyn and I in 2006 sat down and said we should take a team to the World Games.
Great.
So
because you weren't in Kentucky, you didn't go to Kentucky.
No, but that was the plan. At that stage, I think we said we'd like to get a team to Kentucky in 2010. We didn't make it. We didn't make it. We didn't have enough experience at that stage, and we had spent then the next 4 years gaining experience and keeping on the same track and training, and made it. So
your whole group of you here with the 8 athletes, with you Lyn, with you Kat, that's 10.
12 of us came from New Zealand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And you've been a party of 12 since the 23rd of July when you hit the road.
Yep.
Yes. Yes.
Great.
And then we have another 8 German people with us from the club, from the Pegasus Club in Mulaka, and they're supporting us, and they're just fantastic.
I think that's an amazing story, and it's extremely important, as I said earlier, that people understand that some of the fight that people have to get here. Now, of course, the great thing really is that the first couple of days have started well for the team. What have you got left? What are your next competitions?
So we've made it to the finals, which is really exciting, and so when we go into the finals we're doing our freestyle again, and hopefully we'll get that amazing, so then we'll come up a couple ranks. Great.
Now, one of your team, Lyn, I believe is only 11 years old. The youngest competitors at the games are in the vaulting teams. Yes. So you have an 11-year-old girl who's also left home on the 23rd of July?
Yes, she did. I think she might be one of the youngest New Zealanders to ever attend a World Games, actually. Sure. She's one of a set of triplets. So
is she? What's her name?
Danielle.
And she's one of
Yes. And she's just grown and matured while she's been here. All our vaulters have been hosted by families, so they've been billeted, they've been living in German families. And that's been a wonderful experience for them, because they're all picking up a little bit of language, and families have taken them around to sightsee, and I think that's been a very good experience.
And making friends.
Yeah.
So you've been split up, have you? So when you were in Germany, you were staying with a family, were you?
Yeah.
On your own only?
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Well, the families have been really awesome. It's just like staying at home, really. You're staying with brothers and sisters and a mum and dad, and so that's really cool to have that kind of feeling that you're in a family again.
Was it a vaulting family or an equestrian family?
A vaulting family.
Okay.
So yeah, it was always heaps to talk about, and yeah, it was just so much fun.
And how's your German?
It's getting there. Yeah.
And did they speak English?
Yeah, well, they speak really good English. Okay. Yeah.
Great. Well, I have to say that the story is, as I said, extraordinary and wonderful, and it's even more wonderful that you've managed to achieve what you've achieved already in 2 days. Kat, how are you feeling right now as team coach?
Just extremely proud. Very proud to be a part of this team and our whole club, and I'm excited about these girls getting to show off their freestyle once more. For the last few years, or when we didn't go to Kentucky, I've waited for the time when I could show them off to the world, because I think that's how good they are.
That's a lovely thing to say.
Yeah.
Lyn, from your point of view, you're not only manager of the team that are here, you're manager of vaulting in New Zealand. What's likely to happen now that you have, no doubt you've been a large part of the fight to get here? What's going to happen, do you think, to vaulting New Zealand now you're here? Because of course it's been broadcast on FEI TV and other channels as well, so I know everyone at home has been watching. you likely to see a spike in the sport, my guess.
I would hope so. There's a lot of people out there who are dabbling, if you like, in vaulting. I'm hoping that this will inspire them, that they will come to us, we'll run some training camps and they'll gain a lot more knowledge. I hope some of the European coaches will come down to New Zealand and help those teams. These girls here are going to do a display at Equidays in October when they get home, and they will show their freestyle there. It's a great sport to be involved in. It's almost like a prerequisite for riding in some cases, but it's such a healthy sport. I mean, the world's got problems with children and health. In vaulting, they eat well, good physical exercise, great team spirit. I just think it's a wonderful sport, and I hope other people do get involved.
I'm sure they will.
Yeah.
I'm sure they will. Lily, you're here representing the 8 athletes, and through you, can we just wish them all the very best for the next couple of days, because it's very, very exciting.
Yes.
It really is. Well, thank you very much indeed for joining us. It's a wonderful story, and the best wishes for continued success over the next 2 or 3 days. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, now's the time to go back to Sienna to get our daily social media update.
Thanks, Philip. Now, on FEI's Instagram, there have been a number of photos posted, but one that stands out is a wonderful photo taken by Liz Gregg of a young vaulter in a very vibrant outfit, grinning from ear to ear. Just looking at it makes me smile. Over on the FEI's Twitter, FEI keeping us all up to date with the start times of the jumping today, with the tweet, #jumping competition starts today at 3:30 p.m. Retweet if you want to watch it. Also, a lovely quote has been tweeted. We don't remember the days, we remember the moments. #vaulting. Over on the FEI's Facebook page, a brilliant teaser video of today's competitions has been uploaded, along with an exciting video of yesterday's jumping highlights, just in case you missed out on any of the action. Remember to keep up to date with all FEI's social media pages so you don't miss out on anything here. I'll be back tomorrow with more social media updates. Bye.
Thank you, Sienna. And thank you, ladies, very much indeed for joining us and giving us a wonderful insight into the background of your journey to the Alltech FEI World Equestrian Games. Well, tomorrow is day 13. It's the last Friday, so join us on Chez Philippe.